also like doing something that is
Hi everybody. This is a great cause, and we're bringing awareness to it, especially now during the holidays. It's a kind of a sensitive time for a lot of people, and we get so caught up in our shopping and our planning and menus and whatnot, and for everyone to come out, it means a lot to all of us. And on that note, I'd like to introduce the young lady who started all this, Madison Moellers, and her manager and producer, Addison Witt.
Thank you everybody. We're so glad you're here. I'm Addison.
And I'm Madison.
Madison, you'd think the two of us probably have the same last names that we do not. Mine begins with a W.
And mine begins with an M.
Sort of an upside down W.
Yeah, kind of opposite.
Yeah, kind of opposite. But we're so happy that you're here. And I have to say a big thank you.
Yeah, it definitely means a lot to us that you're here. So.
It does mean a lot, and I have to say a big thank you to this young lady, Madison Moellers. She first saw the feature film The First Grader and was so inspired by it, and learned more about Richard Harding and one of the producers and what he was doing and his project, End Malaria Now, and just had to do something about it.
I mean, a child is dying every 45 seconds, and to think that just for $10, for net, we can save some of those kids' lives. For just $10, you can save someone's life, and because that is a mosquito net, $10. And it's amazing for how many lives you can save with how little.
It is amazing, and that we have to do something about it, right? So we want you to enjoy the evening, and your presence here means a great deal. And we're going to get out of the way and introduce a fabulous person, an actor that many of you amazing, who is on a current TV series right now called Rules of Engagement. His name is Warburton. So glad you're here.
He's a really good friend of mine.
You spend 5 minutes with this girl, and you're going to be a really good friend of hers.
Yes.
She's unbelievable.
And I follow him on Twitter, and he says that I'm the only person who replies to him.
That's true. It's true. Because you're so bossy. I'll get in trouble, right?
Yeah.
High five.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Let's you and I exit.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
She has a contribution.
Oh, yes.
Maddie takes them. There you go.
God bless you, baby. Anybody, please donate. Please, I'm begging you.
Scarlet O'Hara.
Thank you for all of you for being here this evening. I was honored that I was asked by Madison and her mother Marcia, to participate in this. Or the dynamic duo, as I refer to the two of them. I think there's Marcia right there.
Yes.
Marcia! I mean, when someone like Madison asks you if you could just like show up and perhaps educate yourself a little bit on something like malaria, you do it because how do you say no? So this is all Madison's doing, and her mother, of course, and that's why everybody's here tonight, because they care about this cause. And so up until I was asked to be here this evening, I knew very little about malaria, other than it happens on the other side of the planet. It's not much worry to us. Back in the 80s, I went to South Africa, and I remember getting immunized, I think, for malaria. I know that it's mosquito-borne. But since then, I've learned a little bit more. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to be the guy that gets interviewed on 2020 about this. But it's an insidious disease. The most devastating aspect of it is that it primarily takes the lives of children under the age of 5. And anybody who's a parent can only imagine how tragic that is to lose your child to something that's preventable and is treatable. End Malaria Now does a lot with in regards to treatment, but also prevention. And $10 buys a bed net, and that's been one of the more proven ways to prevent the illness. It costs $10 for a net and also the education to use it, which I'm sure is probably not extensive. But it's a blood-borne disease. It's a parasite. It's transmitted from human to human by mosquitoes, and there is something we could do about it. We all could do about it. If it's not a monetary contributions, it's through just word of mouth. I have 4 children, and I know that for any parent, everything else is what just sort of busies us through our day and our lives. Nothing's as important as the health and the well-being of our children. So to me, I just thought about, the nets that prevent it. If we can, create more of an awareness in our society, our Western society, of something that's a real tragedy. It's a real problem on the other side of the planet. These children's lives are worth as much as any children's lives anywhere else, on this earth, and especially to their parents. So it's great that everyone's here tonight, and once again, I thank you, Madison, for inviting me to partake. I think there's going to be a presentation tonight, a film, right? Is there a film in it? Okay, is that going to screen right now?
No, it's screening just a little bit. I'm going to introduce someone else.
Screen a little bit. Okay, all right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for being here. Madison and Marcia for
I was wrapping my head around malaria and understanding what it means and how it's represented in our world today. There were some very interesting facts that I came across. One, that malaria is older than the human race itself. That malaria was prevalent around the world. That millions of people died in Europe and the United States before we were able to really inoculate and prevent people from dying. And the fact that it's happening around the world, it destroys communities, it destroys economies, it destroys human life, and because we are all connected, we have to get involved. If you don't just all look to the right, to a person who's on your right, when I thought about, on your right, the other right, when I thought about this, I sat silently for 45 seconds, because the stats are that a person dies every 45 seconds. So if you turn to someone on your right, and just look at that person on your right, and 45 seconds, that person is gone. As I was counting, I thought about all the people who die from something in between that 45 seconds. So why should we care? Because people are dying from one thing or another every day. Because we can do something about it. Because it's preventable. Because it is the humane thing to do. Because it affects our brothers and sisters, people around the world. Because it affects many Americans as they travel and go abroad. Because it never goes away. Because it would be inhumane not to. And so it does affect us all right here. And the nets, yes, they're part of it. The education is a tremendous part of it. So really and truly, sharing this information with you and you going out, dispersing more, learning more, these are things that we can do to actively, we can do something about this. As older than humanity itself. Scientists still have not been able to find the one thing to stop it, but a mosquito net for $10 is one way to help. So Madison is now going to introduce another friend of Madison's, Frankie Shaw.
Someone very close to me is standing in this audience, and he has been a huge part of this event and has been helping us a lot. Many of you have probably met him through the night. Frankie Shaw, people.
Patrick, I know what you mean. I fell for it too. Well, everyone, we obviously know the facts, and everyone's been getting the brochures that the lovely ladies and our little gentleman, is around here somewhere, have been handing out. So I'm not going to continue on with that. I'm going to go the more Italian Catholic route of guilt.
All right.
So, we're coming up on the holidays, and as you know, Starbucks now has, what is that? That eggnog, spicy latte, the peppermint one, the caramel one. They're yummy, right? Sacrifice 2 of those, and you can save a child's life. It's that simple. And with that, I think we got all the facts.
Thank you,
and
Frankie.
we know everything. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Donate. I'm not going to get on my knees, but she will. You know, oh, please help. Donate.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming. Enjoy everything, you guys.
Thank you.
We also have one more presentation, and I want to also introduce one of the film's producers who was inspired by a story in a newspaper, I believe, took action, went to Kenya, and made this fabulous, beautiful film, First Grader. And I'm sure many of you have had a chance to see it. If you haven't, it's a must-see. I screened it in my home. It was absolutely stunning.
Amazing. And someone who, well, he got me all into this, so he brought all of you here. Well, I brought all of you here, but he got me
That's
so,
Marsha's child, all right.
But he is a huge part of all of this. Please welcome Richard Harding, people.
Thank you. And Denise
Well, first of all, I want to thank every one of you guys for coming out here today. It means a lot to us. I want to thank especially you, Patrick, for donating your time and spending time with us here. And the tweets that you've done to get everybody out here means a lot to us. So thank you very, very much. And Madison, I can't stop thanking you because we were screening our film over at the Screen Actors Guild, and we had a Q&A, and I remember whilst we were having the Q&A, I saw this little hand go up, and I tried to reach out to find the rest of the body where the hand came from, and that's when I saw it was Madison. She asked the most intelligent question. I was like, "How old are you?" And she said, "I think you were 6 at the time or something." And ever since that day, she did a little research on the films that I make and what I do, and she found out that that we have an organization called End Malaria Now that we use to donate nets to help end the spread of malaria in Africa. And she has been a passionate supporter of End Malaria Now since then. So I want to thank you very much for helping to bring this night together, and especially your mother, Marsha, because without her, Marsha has been absolutely amazing. Marsha and Addison pretty much put this entire event tonight together. So I want to thank both of you guys for such a wonderful event.
Can I thank Wendy, please?
Yes, thank Wendy too.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And I want to thank also Cafe Entourage for donating this space to us. It means a lot. So thank you very much, Cafe Entourage. And all those others involved. I want to thank some of our other supporters as well. Those that supported us being here. And the First Grader is up for Oscar contention this year. And I wanted to acknowledge somebody who's helping to support our campaign. Mr. Darren Shea. Hey. Family Foundation, and the families here as well. So thank you very much, Darren. You're doing
It's gonna win. It's gonna win.
For those who know, this is Denise. We both started End Malaria Now together, and it's been running since then. A lot of people ask, how did End Malaria Now get started? Well, we're out in Africa shooting the First Grader, and I love kids, so I had gone there many times before in Kenya. And I would always take like a suitcase full of American candies and toys for the kids, and I'll take it to the orphanages. And while we were there once, somebody says, have you ever been to the malaria hospital? Well, I never knew you had a hospital just for malaria. You know, it's like saying, have you ever been, you know, to the flu hospital? You know, so we ended up going to the malaria hospital, and I've never seen so many sick kids before in my entire life. You know, and so we started thinking, what can we do for these kids? So we ended up, you know, going to get some of them toys, and because of the shooting schedule, it took a week to get back, and some of the kids were not there, so we were thinking, okay, these kids have gone back home. But no, these kids have passed away because of malaria. So the sad thing about it, though, is that malaria can be prevented. All it takes is a $10 bed net, less than a movie ticket, you know, to save the lives of these children. And that's not happening because $10 for us is not that much. You know, for them, it's a choice between eating food or not eating food. You know, so when we have an opportunity to do something like that, we go out and we do it. You know, so we're all here today for that reason, to help end that spread of malaria and end the epidemic. What we're looking at now is that we're trying to raise 100,000 nets for Sierra Leone, which is a country in Africa, on the western coast of Africa, that doesn't have resources, doesn't have other entities that are going in to help them, so we're trying to help them as best as we can. So we thank all of you guys for coming out here to help us to be able to do that and meet our goal for end of next year to donate 100,000 nets to the people of Sierra Leone. I want to go with the video. I want to go ahead and put on it's a short 2-minute video just to show you a little bit about what's going on over there and what it is we can do.
Hello. Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it, don't we, Madison?
Yes, we do.
We do, and yes, we thank Marc Moellers for your passion. Patrick Warburton, thank you so much. There's so many names. Wendy, thank you. We are so appreciative. Richard Harding, and I have some thank yous here somewhere. And Frankie Shaw, Denise Tran, Wendy Urea, Josh Kaplan, Kathy Entourage, Oshkosh, Variety, Brian Gott, Sherry's here, our publicist. Thank you, everybody, so much for everything that you've done, and I'm sure there were so many more people, and we really appreciate it. But have a great night and mingle, and there are parting gifts downstairs and cupcakes, and so we really appreciate it. Thank you.